Hi guys, welcome back to reality. I'm Dani.
I'm now.
You're muffled. I can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're doing an update on James Saroka, Jimmy. He finally had his sentencing court hearing. But first I wanted to play this video for you guys. It's from Josh's niece, which Josh is someone else that he had abused in the past. And it was in our very first video, what he did with him, to him. So here's this. Let me see, share screen. Okay.
In my heart, what's left of it, I want him to answer for his crimes, and I want him to be incarcerated for the crimes that he has committed. I want someone to hold him accountable, because he's clearly never going to hold himself accountable. You're not who you think you are. You're not as grand. You're not as important. You're not even as smart as you like to think you are. What you are is a pariah. You're an evil ball of nothing. And you need to start realizing it. And there will come a day in your life where you will no longer be able to hide from accountability. And on that day, I hope you learn something.
Okay, so there was that. That was from Steve Delive. If you guys would like to watch his entire video, you can go over there and watch that after this one. So he was finally sentenced, but I don't think that he was sentenced to what I feel like he should have gotten.
No, me neither.
And here is a clip of him abusing her. They actually put this in their court document to try and get him the maximum time, but I guess it didn't work. I don't know.
This is in our first video too.
Yeah, this is in our first video as well. So
you are in a cycle. I'm not abusing you anymore. I say fuck me too all you want, but that's all you're doing is trying to fuck me. You women who disrespect men and expect respect in return, sit on it and rotate, because you do anyway. So fuck off. Or grow up. Stop looking at me. I don't want your looks. I don't want you watching my screen. I genuinely want to block you. As you take, what is she doing? She's looking at me in some way, shape, or form just to say that she can. You're going to get kicked out. I'm going to call the police and let them know I'm abusing you.
So that last 10 seconds is what they used to try and get him the full sentencing. So this is what he got, guys.
I got papers here.
Yeah. He got 9 months. 9 months. And he'll probably only serve 4.5, because most states you serve half of what you're sentenced. So if you're sentenced a year, you serve 6 months. So if he got 9 months, he's already served 4. He could be out in 2 weeks. Most likely he'll be out in 2 weeks. And we know Katie named their son after him. So he'll probably be reunited with them right away.
Yep. Here is the disposition court minutes. So it says DFT present via Teams from RCJ, Attorney Muth.
Matt.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure his attorney's name is Matt.
Oh, it looks like MUTH.
Maybe. I don't know.
Comes on for a plea. Defendant sworn. Defendant advised of rights. Defendant makes knowing and voluntary waiver of rights. So count 1. He needs to pay $250 fine, $125 VCA and court costs, $250 OIDS fee, and $400 incarceration fee. Then defendant signed rules and conditions of supervised probation. Supervised probation. That's
Which
it.
I figured he'd get.
Yeah. He got, what he ended up getting, guys, is 9 months.
Mm-hmm. But time served pretty much, because
yes, with time
he only served half.
He's been in for 4 months. So,
yeah. He'll be out in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And it doesn't look good. I mean, it looks, we don't know. Somebody had a comment on our last video. How do we know she's not with her family? We don't know that. We didn't say in our video that she wasn't with family. what I said was that there was a family member early on in when he took Kate away and they were trying to find her. There was a family member, or it could have even been like a close family friend, that offered to let Katie go stay with them if she didn't want to go back home. Because remember, Jim had her convinced that her parents were highly abusive.
Right. Yeah, I commented back to them. They didn't say we said that. They just wanted to know.
Yeah, we don't
How
know
we
where
knew.
she is. Like I said, it doesn't look good. She did name the baby after him. He's the third. So I
Yeah.
don't have, I'm not holding out a lot of hope, guys, that she's not going to run back to him.
Yeah.
The only thing is I don't know where they go.
Yeah, I don't
They have
either.
a baby now. They can't be on the street.
Right. Well, we don't know where she is too. Maybe where she's
Right.
at, then she could have him there. I mean, she could have got state funded housing because she has the baby now, which she would also then get food stamps, TANF, her bills paid, all that stuff just from being a single mother with no job. She could be taken care of completely. Plus, she'll get the $300 a month in child tax credit. So, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't look good. And from everything we've heard is that she didn't have a great life growing up either. So, I'm not sure, but I did want to share. Oh, go ahead.
So here's his, I don't know what that was about. So here is his statement. Hold on, I need to zoom this in, old lady blindness and all. Do you understand the court is not bound by any agreement or recommendation? And if the court does not accept the plea agreement, you have the right to withdraw your plea of guilty. And he marked yes. Do you understand that if there is no plea agreement, the court can sentence you within the range of punishment stated in question 16? Yes. Do you understand your plea of guilty to the charges are after? And he marked no prior felony conviction. What is or are your pleas to the charges and to each one of them? Guilty. Did you commit the acts as charged?
This cracks me up.
Yeah. State the factual basis of your plea. Attach additional page as needed, labeled as addendum. I battered one pregnant woman with whom I was in a relationship with in Rogers County, Oklahoma. So I guess it's okay because it was just one woman and it was just one pregnant woman.
And he was in a relationship with her. So,
So, that's okay. Jeez, I can't believe you guys are doing all this because I battered one woman, one pregnant woman. Jeez. Have you been forced, abused, mistreated, or promised anything by anyone to have you enter your plea? No. Do you plead guilty of your own free will and without any coercion or compulsion of any kind? Yes. If you are entering a plea to a felony offense, you have a right to pre-sentence investigation and report, which would contain the circumstances of the offense, any criminal record, social history, and any other background information about you. Do you want to have the report? It was marked non-applicable. Do you have any additional statements to make to the court? No. Is there any legal reason you should not be sentenced now? No. Costs of incarceration will be assessed and you will be advised of your incarceration costs, if any, at your appointment with the cost administrator. Do you understand incarceration costs may be applied? Yes. And then pursuant to the recent Supreme Court ruling in Padilla versus Kentucky, number 08651, March 31st, 2010, the court is required to ask the defendant if he or she is a U.S. citizen. And yes, he is a U.S. citizen. So that's all he said. I battered one pregnant woman with whom I was in a relationship with in Rogers County, Oklahoma.
Yeah. That's probably what his lawyer told him to write. You were right. It is Muth. It's his last name is Muth.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like, to me, that little statement, even though it's so short and that's all he said, I swear I can just hear it in his voice, like he's so wronged. He's the victim because he's been sitting in jail for beating her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I wanted to show what the the district attorney, what he wrote at the sentencing, to try and get him the max. He says CCMES now, the state of Oklahoma, by and through its duly elected and acting district attorney for Rogers County, Matt Ballard, by and through district attorney Kayland Baker, and in anticipation of formal sentencing following the defendant's plea of guilty, asks this court to impose the maximum sentence. On July 25th, 2021, officers were dispatched to the Highway 20 in reference to a domestic incident where two independent well, I can't see that part, but then it says James, they asked James permission, or she asked for James' permission before speaking. Caitlin told officers she has no money, no car, no place to go, so he was arrested for domestic assault. Let's see. While the state understands that facially this case is not the most egregious domestic assault and battery, this case is particularly unusual. When you look at this isolated event, it may not warrant the maximum punishment. However, this is not an isolated incident. The defendant in this case is internet famous, or more aptly described as infamous. His fame arose from videos of him being emotionally and physically abusive to the victim of this case, Caitlin. These videos provide insight into the controlling and abusive behavior of the defendant. The defendant first began to groom Caitlin before she even turned 18. On her 18th birthday, she was taken from her loving family by the defendant. Since that date, nearly 3 years ago, Caitlin's parents have not seen or talked to Caitlin without the defendant controlling the conversation. Even these strenuous requirements weren't sufficient for the defendant. Eventually, in determining an appropriate sentence, the court must consider all factors that may be relevant to the crime that either aggravate or mitigate defendant's conduct. These factors may include, but are not limited to, the injuries suffered by the victim, defendant's actions, and defendant's potential danger to the public. While the state understands that facially... Oh, wait. Wait, didn't they already put this in there?
Order.
Yeah, okay.
You already read that throughout.
So when you look at the isolated blah blah, these videos provide insight. Okay, the defendant. Yeah, I read all that. Okay. Eventually, Caitlin was cut off completely from her family. While the state understands the defendant doesn't have any prior criminal history, the state urges you to consider the reason for this. It is clearly not the first times James has abused Caitlin. See Repsian, the James Saroka files. Or you can see our video. We have it in there as well. Our very first video on James that we did in August. However, it is the first time any state has been willing to move forward with charges without a cooperative victim. It is the first time any state has been able to produce third-party witnesses and video footage sufficient to move forward with or without her cooperation. It is the first time Caitlin has been given a chance to separate herself from the defendant and heal from the mental, emotional, and physical abuse. The defendant's lack of criminal convictions does not equate to a lack of criminal behavior. The state requests this isn't weighed in the defendant's favor, and rather that it shows the danger of the situation. She is too scared to get help. Through the defendant's internet presence, the state has learned that James has utter control over Caitlin. So that didn't work, though, obviously, because he got 9 months, served 4.5 with supervised probation. That's it. And we know that she has not healed because she named the baby after him, and we're pretty sure she can go right back to him. This is James's public defender, Jesse Muth. So I just find the entire situation completely and utterly sad.
I mean, I'm glad that he, that he was finally caught and, something was done. Hopefully I'm hoping that there's some way that they are going to force him to be on medication, at least while he's on probation. It doesn't say, does it, how long he'll be on probation?
I'm not sure you have those papers.
I didn't think it said. Hold on.
I didn't see it say anything.
I'm not seeing anything about how long. Hopefully it's an extended probation and they force him to be on meds.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too.
Yeah. because otherwise, that poor
This
baby.
says that the maximum punishment for first-time domestic abuse case that does not have any aggravating factors will generally be charged as a misdemeanor. The maximum punishment is jail is 1 year, and the maximum fine is $5,000. So we know he didn't get anywhere near the maximum, especially with the fine.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have given him a year, and then at least he'd be in jail for 2 more months. But no, they didn't do that. They gave him 9 months, so he only has to stay for 2 more weeks.
Right. And like my thing is that baby. I mean, where
Yeah.
are they going to go? They can't keep living like grifters like they were with a child.
No. No, they can't. Sorry about that, guys.
And who knows if, she's allowing her family to help at all or whatever. I mean, when you have your first child, you need your mom,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. So I don't know. I feel bad for her because we don't know her home life growing up. And then because they go after people that are already damaged because they know it's easy to get them,
I personally don't believe that that her parents were abusive.
No, I don't know if they were abusive or not. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it might not have been the happy living home that we had.
I just because of following Jimmy for so many years, I don't believe that there was the problems that he made out that there was at her home.
No, I don't think there is what he said either.
I think it was all part of his grooming. And
I completely agree. I didn't mean it like that. Like, I don't think that what he said happened at all. All I mean is that they go after people that are broken that don't necessarily have the happiest of homes is all I meant.
She definitely
not necessarily abusive.
She definitely didn't have very much self-esteem.
Yeah.
And as we all know, abusers destroy any self-esteem you might have left in you is destroyed by the abuser.
Yeah. Oh, here's something else I just found. It says any person convicted of domestic abuse committed against a pregnant woman with knowledge of the pregnancy shall be guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by imprisonment of jail for not more than 1 year. Any person convicted of a second. So if he does it again, he'll get not less than 10 years. I can't believe that it's not more than one. Can you believe that? So if you beat a pregnant woman knowing she's pregnant,
10 years.
No, if you on your very first offense, if you hit a pregnant woman knowing she's pregnant, it's punishable by not more than 1 year. So the most you can get is 1 year for your first offense.
Right. And then it jumps to 10 years if you do it again.
Not less than 10. Right. But I'm just saying, someone's pregnant and you can beat them and get less than a year in jail. That just blows my mind. Right. And then it says any person convicted of domestic abuse committed against a pregnant woman with knowledge of the pregnancy and a miscarriage occurs or injury to the unborn child occurs shall be guilty of a felony punishable for up to 20 years.
See, and not on these papers, but on previous papers that we had, it stated that it was a felony.
Well, it can be,
Yeah, here it's saying it's just a misdemeanor
right,
the first time.
Yeah, it depends on the state. It depends on how bad it was. It can be a felony depending on the abuse.
And the fact that it was stated that, this is the first time they have gone after a domestic abuser.
He has no criminal
without cooperation from the victim.
Right, yeah, because she didn't want to press any charges at all. So
right, so that
didn't help.
No, and that again is not a good sign for things to come because she apparently after 4 months still doesn't realize the abuse.
Nope. I don't know if she ever will.
Right.
It might be too late.
Yep. Well, I mean, he always wanted his name out there. Your name is out there now, buddy.
Mm-hmm. I just feel bad for the baby.
I feel so bad. That baby's going to Google themselves in 10, 12 years. And
see everything he's done.
Yep. And unfortunately, if that child is raised in an abusive home, then
he could turn out the opposite. I've seen where.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you just never know how a child is going to react to the parent that could have left with them and didn't, you know?
Oh, I agree. But also I've seen where it turns it to where they want to be nothing like them at all and
Oh,
be
yeah.
the opposite. So
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree.
but yeah, I do the parents that stay in abusive situations get blamed a lot
Hmm.
because they're like, why didn't you get me out of here?
And also in a domestic violence situation, a relationship, um, they tear you down to where you don't think you can get anyone else. You don't deserve any better. You don't deserve to be treated any better.
Or that you can't make it on your own.
Yeah.
You'll never
So
survive out there without me.
I mean, it saddens me because I was so hoping that in this time that he was in jail, that, you know, somebody would be able to get through to Caitlin, and, you know, she would see how wrong the relationship was, how abusive he was. And it really doesn't look like that's the case.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is when someone's in that situation.
Yeah. And it's a
You
cycle.
no one can tell you.
No. And
You
I don't
know.
know what it will take. That's the scary thing. You know, guys,
Yeah.
a lot of DV relationships end up with fatalities,
Mhm.
horrible, you know,
Yeah.
injuries that are, you know, life changing, you know.
Mhm.
So
I know when I was in an abusive relationship, people told me, "Don't marry him, get out." No, I didn't listen. I
no.
mean, because you know best, and you have to learn on. You're just at the point where you're going to learn on your own. No one knows but you. That's how you feel in your head. You feel like, nope, I know him better than anybody else does. They just don't see the real him, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then when the times are good, you're like, oh, but it's so good, you know.
Once you come to that realization and you finally leave, you vow it will never be done to you again.
Right. And hindsight is always a bitch.
Yeah. But I mean, what is it going to take for her to realize if this didn't do it? I mean, because, you know, this time around, she not only had to be concerned for her own safety, she had to be concerned for the safety of her child.
True, but the child wasn't born yet, so I don't know if that really registered with her. It might be different now the baby's born when he comes home, you know?
God, I hope so.
Because, you know, a first time mom, especially at her age, she might not even have realized until after she had the baby.
Right.
So I don't know.
I don't know either. It's not looking good.
No.
And I wonder if he'll try making another return. I mean, I could so see him using this as publicity. And
oh yeah, he'll try to get back on the internet. That's how he gets all his money, is
right
from people. He dry bags and people give it to him. I still
He'll
don't
come
understand
on
how
here
he gets all the money he gets.
He'll come on here and, you know, say how sorry he is and he was off. He'll blame it on his illness, even though he has claimed that he cured himself of bipolar.
Oh yeah, I know.
But this time he will use the bipolar. I was off my meds.
Good
I wasn't
thing,
in my right mind.
One good thing that came out of him being in the jail is that he's on medication. There's no way he's in jail without being on it. So if he were to stay on it, then maybe he could be a decent father. If he doesn't stay on it, there's no way in hell.
Right. Let me see if I can find that. The way that we know that he is on.
It's in our last video on him. It shows on there that there's medical fees.
Right.
That he's being charged.
Right.
So you guys can check that out in our last video. And our first video has more clips. And then next week, we're going to do an in-depth view on James Saroka, his past, our thoughts on it, and all that stuff. And then the present and looking outward.
I'm kind of hoping there isn't a lot when he gets out. You know, I'm hoping we don't have the opportunity to come back and, you know, give an update, just because that would mean that, you know, he's back online and he's going to, but let me tell you what, the fact that he put his whole life online is what was, you know, in the end, that's what finally got him.
Oh yeah. He won't see it that way though.
No.
because he thinks that, oh, they had to find this never before done thing to even get me. That shows they're against me, blah, blah, blah.
Can you even cure? I mean, I don't think there's a cure for narcissism, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. I mean, you can make it better with medicine, but not even that helps really. I mean, it can help us bipolar, but if you're a manipulator, you're just always a manipulator.
Right. And he has a habit of going off his medicine. I mean, honestly,
Mhm.
the bipolar could bring out a lot. It could bring, it could bring out rages and everything else, especially when it's gone untreated.
Yeah.
But you have a history of going off your meds. You have a history of thinking that you can control it all on your own by diet or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine being in a relationship with someone that manipulates like that. I mean, just having a friend that did that was crazy enough for me.
Oh my gosh. It literally, it's like pulling out. The frustration is so bad. Like you, like literally could pull out your hair. You're so
because they
frustrated.
gaslight you.
Exactly. That is the most frustrating.
I had a gaslighting friend not that long ago that was just awful.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully once he's out, he's on probation and they monitor his medications, and that's the only way I think that it'll never be a healthy relationship that he's in with anyone. He's just got that in him, that manipulation, that cult leader kind of persona.
And unfortunately people fall for it.
Uh-huh.
Didn't you even like him when he first started on? Yeah. The first time I saw, because I remember the first time I saw him, I was like, "There's something wrong with that guy."
So was my husband. I'm so naive.
And you were like, "I can't believe you noticed it right away."
Yeah, because remember, I had thought about spending money.
You fell for a hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, you and my husband were like, "Don't you dare send him to die."
Yeah, I could tell immediately. I was like, something wrong with that guy.
Yeah.
And you were like, "No, I like him."
He's charismatic, and he's good at the manipulation game.
He is. That's how he gets
I had people because I've been following him for years on Periscope, and I had people literally block me on Periscope because I would watch him.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all for today.
Yep, I think.
But we'll be doing an in-depth video on him next week for you guys. So, and then we'll be back Friday. Make sure you guys comment down below. Let us know what you think. If you liked the video, if you didn't, that's fine too. Just click one of the thumbs and let us know. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That way you guys know when we are going live and when our next videos go up.
And Friday, our video that we are planning is going to be on Travis Scott.
And the whole Astrodome thing.
Yeah. So join us on Friday for that. And we will see you guys then.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Stay safe.